Hello everyone, my name is Zeotrex, and today we're going to be doing a review of Thor, Love and Thunder, which just released today, and this is my second time trying to record this. I looked at the first recording and was like, nah. So, Thor, Love and Thunder follows Thor trying to find his journey and see who he really is, but Jane Foster then all of a sudden comes back into his life. After he finds this out, turns out she's actually Mighty Thor. So now they must team up together alongside Korg and Valkyrie to defeat Gorr the God Butcher, played by Christian Bale. Now, listen, that's cool and all, but let's see Paul Allen's villain. So I want to begin with this movie and just say that I liked it. I think it's a great, fantastic ride throughout the 2-hour runtime, which is surprisingly short, and that could stagger the movie a little bit. But I do think that this movie is fun, it's enjoyable, and there's a few issues, but not too glaring. One is actually could probably ruin the film. Not ruin, belittle the film's meaning a bit. So, let's get into what I liked about the movie. I think the action was great. I definitely like, the action because it was fun, it was epic, it was cool. That's all I can really say. The music was great. I love the music choices, but I want to talk about the visuals for this film because that's what stood out to me the most. And it's... Okay, so there's like this scene where Thor fights Gorr on this planet, and it's all black and white, and I think it's fantastic because they play around with the colors. Like whenever something lights, it like lights color onto them. I think it was fantastic. Whenever Gorr is on scene in this film, he eats it up. I think Christian Bale is an actual fantastic actor, but that kind of brings me into kind of something that I wish. I think he should have been in the movie a bit more. And there's an issue with him that I do have that's at the end of the film, but I will explain that in the spoiler section. Now, and I think Gorr is a great villain. I hope that maybe one day we could see him again, but depends. And I think Jane Foster was pretty cool as Mighty Thor. I like the on-running joke that she's trying to come up with a catchphrase, you know? And speaking of jokes, that's my main issue with the film. I know I shouldn't be judging comedy because, as Joker once said, comedy is subjective. No, that was Heath Ledger. That's Heath Ledger. I'm doing Heath Ledger's Joker. That comedy is, of course, subjective. People will find things funnier than other people. I don't think like kids lip syncing on TikTok are that funny. Instead, I find stupid shit like take that stupid ass Half-Life video came to mind again. Okay. Why am I so red? Oh my god. Hold on. I'm sorry. Let me turn down this. I think this is like giving heat to my face. But the humor takes away a lot of the film. There's a few running jokes that I did like, but when every character is a comedian, it takes away a lot from what could be an actual serious moment. Like, there's this moment where we think a character's gonna die, but no, they just joke at each other, and it's like, that could have been a real emotional moment, but no, you play it up like a big joke. And, you know, the first time we see Thor in all his glory is when he rides Stormbreaker like a damn witch broom. It's just... We get introduced to the goats, and, you know, when we get introduced to them, they scream. Funny. until they do it a lot. This is what this movie does. It introduces a funny joke that is actually funny, and then when that running joke gets beaten into the ground, it's no longer funny. Not saying that I didn't have my laughs at this movie. I definitely think the movie is funny, but they should have toned down on the humor. It felt like Taika Waititi was like, okay, a lot of people loved the humor from Thor Ragnarok, and then they kind of overdid it a whole lot in this movie. So that's just what I think happened. I also think that the ending was a little bit rushed. Maybe there could have been maybe there could have been a better explanation for what happens, but I do think that it's a nice, sweet little ending. But maybe extend the movie by about like 5 minutes or so, you know, just so we could get that time we need to fully understand the ending, and, you know, for it to make sense. And also that final battle was goofy. There's some shit there that is goofy that I want to talk about in the spoiler section of the video. Korg is probably the worst part of this movie, unfortunately. Oh, I love Korg, but every time that mouth opens, it just a joke after a joke. And these aren't even funny jokes. It's like cool, you know? I don't know. Maybe I'm just not the kind of guy who finds this stuff funny. But it's something that they do that is an issue with this film. Is that it's okay if it's a comedy, by the way. It's okay if this film is a comedy, but it feels like a parody, you know? It's getting way too close to parody territory with how much humor is in the film. I just think the jokes went overboard. That's it. Now, another thing I want to talk about is the acting. I think the acting here is great, honestly. I like Chris Hemsworth, and I like all the other performances, except Taika Waititi's performance, sadly, just because it did get annoying. I do like Taika Waititi. I think he's a funny man. But, yeah, I also feel like Valkyrie was kind of pushed to the side a bit, and we didn't really get much of her, as we didn't get a good story arc with her, you know. And I also feel like that they kind of took away something from Gorr the God Butcher. He is called the God Butcher. There isn't really a lot of butchering of gods in this film. Just my opinion on it. Just, you know, what I think. But I do think Gorr is the best part of this movie. I do think we should have given Gorr some more screen time. I'm not sure if that's a problem of the exactly 2-hour length, or if it's just him not showing up as often. So, Thor: Love and Thunder, I think, is a great film, but it overdoes its humor a bit. And you know what? I think this one was more so targeted towards the younger demographic. I'm gonna give Thor: Love and Thunder a B-, and now let's get into spoilers. So, 3, 2, 1, let's get into it. So, my original review actually had me complaining about how they kind of wasted Jane Foster, but after doing some research, turns out the cancer storyline is something from the comics, so can't really whine about that too much. I do like how they actually talk about cancer in this film, and it was a surprise to me because I wouldn't expect a topic like that in an MCU film. I was gonna say a topic like that in a Marvel movie, but I mean, it's Deadpool. Speaking of which, if Deadpool was in this movie, he could... Nah, I'm not gonna say anything. I do... And you know what? I think her story here has a nice conclusion. And how they treated the fact that Mjolnir is taking away her powers and her kind of sacrificing herself. I think that was nice. And I do... The ending was pretty nice as well. But I do feel like Thor was kind of thrown into a situation where he's like forced to have this. It's like, hello, little random child. I'm your dad. It's a bit it's a bit, yeah, it is. I feel like it is a bit rushed. Maybe a few more minutes could have given some explanation as to what that was, honestly. Okay, the final fight scene, pretty damn goofy. I feel like sometimes Thor's powers are given to him just so the plot can happen. Like, he can switch his outfit to, I will admit it, a pretty bad outfit. At least with the helmet, which was only in that one scene, by the way. But, yeah, he has the power to do that all of a sudden. And it's like, why switch to that new outfit when I don't think there was even any abilities in that outfit that's like, okay, cool. In fact, I like the other outfit a lot better. I do think that, and the fact that he gives the kids powers of Thor, it's like, where did all of this come from? Why couldn't you have done this in Avengers, Age of Ultron, Infinity War, Endgame? Was it because you had the lightning bolt? I think that's it. I think it's because he had the lightning bolt, and that's how he was able to give the powers to all the kids. And he sent all of these kids out to battle. It's like, damn! Okay! Like, yeah, they're Asgardian children, most of them. So, like, they would be able to do this, but it's like, okay, damn, send them out to war. That's like sending a 5-year-old kid out to fight in Hong Kong or something. It was a goofy, but I do think the ending, I do think the final fight between Thor and Gorr was pretty cool. Was pretty awesome, and I do like the little end that Jane does get here. And I think the relationship between Thor and Jane is great in this film. Again, I think these are some excellent performances, and I don't really think the story has that much issues. It's how they treat the story. Because, like, Gorr kidnapping kids and taking them to a shadow realm, that way he can lure Thor in to grab his thing and, you know, open up eternity. I think that's great. But the way they played it off and the way they treated it was like, you should take this a lot more seriously, you know? Because it's joke after joke after joke. And you know what? Sometimes jokes can help the scene. I think the scene with Gorr in the cage was pretty scary. His sick, twisted humor elevated the scene. I do think that it's a scary moment. But, again, I'm just repeating myself here. I think Thor Love and Thunder is a fun, fantastic ride. But honestly, its main issue is, of course, the humor and how they really treat the story. It's a rom-com, which, you know what? I like a few rom-coms, like 17 again, if that even counts, but still, I just think that they could have treated this a lot better. Let's talk about those after credit scenes real quick, actually, before I kind of end the thing. So, turns out Zeus is alive, and I do want to talk about that scene in a bit. Zeus survived getting a lightning bolt through the chest, which, okay, you know what? That makes sense. He's Zeus, played by Russell Crowe. I think Russell Crowe was funny in this movie. But after that, he's like, hey, you, help me, my son, Hercules. So Hercules is Thor's next opponent, I believe, in Thor 5, because they do say Thor will return at the end of this film. And the second after credit scene is a guy punching himself. I'm kidding. No, the second after credit scene is with Jane Foster up in Valhalla, which, you know what, I'm glad she got that happy ending. Maybe she's gonna come back, you know, because they do that in the comics, but I think it would be a cheap out. Listen, I think this movie's great, honestly. I want to talk about the Zeus stuff, but I'm already rambling enough anyways. So let's end this out. Thor: Love and Thunder is a great film with one glaring issue. But overall, if you don't let that issue bother you, it's a fun, enjoyable ride that you can definitely sit through and, you know, watch. And if you find it funny, that's up to you. I found a few of the jokes funny, but a lot of them took away from the scenes. Anyways, if you guys did enjoy this video, hit that like button, subscribe. And you know what? Next time, we're gonna praise Allah because it's Miss Marvel next time, I think, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, next week we're doing Miss Marvel.